What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and today I wanted to make a quick video about the lack of a Battlefield trailer at Gamescom this year, as it does have the community a little bit confused heading into September, and I think a lot of people are actually kind of concerned about this, even though there might not be any reason for concern. So I wanted to share my thoughts on that in this one. Before we get into it though, if you guys are new around here and you end up enjoying the video, then do consider subscribing and turning on those notifications so that you don't miss out on any upcoming Battlefield content. There is plenty of exciting stuff on the way, but with that being said, let's get stuck right into it. So for those who aren't aware, Gamescom happened late last week, and Gamescom is essentially just a gaming convention where they tend to show a heap of upcoming games, whether that be announcing new ones or just talking about games that we have already known about. And overall, it was a pretty good show in my opinion. A lot of these type of shows do fall flat on their face in all honesty, but I thought this one was probably one of the better gaming events in recent history. Now, one thing that was missing though was the inclusion of anything from Battlefield, or I think even just EA in general, and it did leave a lot of people in the community slightly disappointed that we didn't get any new trailers or gameplay or anything like that, because generally speaking that's pretty much expected at Gamescom. Every single Battlefield title since Bad Company 2, meaning Bad Company 2, Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4, Battlefield Hardline, Battlefield 1 and Battlefield 5 have all had their own Gamescom trailers in the months leading up to their launch, and so it's kind of become a bit of a recurring theme in a way, almost an expected piece of marketing at this point, since it has happened with so many games in a row now. Because of that, a lot of people in the community, myself included, were kind of expecting to see a trailer or at least some mention of Battlefield over the 3 days that Gamescom took place, and so when nothing actually happened, it was definitely a little bit disappointing or frustrating, but in all honesty that is completely our own fault. There was no official word that Battlefield 2042 would be at Gamescom. There weren't any even hints or rumours about it in the lead up, and essentially the only thing that we were all going off was the fact that there had been trailers in the past. So I think for those of us who got our hopes up, that was just completely on us rather than being DICE's fault for not providing a trailer when, quite frankly, they just don't have to do that. Now, a lot of people were just a little bit disappointed, but there were also quite a few in the community who were actually pretty worried about this, combined with the lack of gameplay, which is a whole other topic, and I've got a video on that going up in 2 days from now, so be sure to keep an eye out for that one. But yeah, I've seen a lot of concern about this in the past few days, and while I do understand it, I actually have quite the opposite stance on it, which is essentially why I wanted to make this video. Battlefield, and honestly most of the biggest shooters, or hell, even just AAA titles in general, have kind of followed the same set of rules for revealing and marketing their game over the last decade. Reveal a game in around May, June or July with an initial reveal trailer, give us a bit more information at events like E3, EA Play and Gamescom leading up to the launch, and then usually release a beta in around September or October before launching in late October or November. That has generally just been the cycle of gaming marketing forever now, and it has definitely worked well, but in the last 2 or 3 years I think a shift has started to happen with how games are marketing themselves, and I think Battlefield has been a part of that shift as well. Rather than the typical cycle that I just mentioned, many games are actually having their own showcases rather than showing themselves off at gaming conventions, in order to essentially remove the competition from those events and make sure that they're taking all of the limelight, since there are no other games being shown 5 minutes later and stealing their thunder. The last 2 Call of Duty titles have been revealed with in-game Warzone events that allow players to actually take part in the reveal and complete objectives in Warzone in order to see the new trailer. Apex Legends literally launched with zero marketing. They just said at EA Play a few years ago, by the way, we have a new game and it's literally out right now. And Battlefield 2042 has had its own style of marketing as well, which so far has been really successful in my opinion. Rather than revealing itself at a gaming event like E3 for example, Battlefield 2042 had a pretty big build up across Twitter and Reddit and even within the previous games themselves, and had the reveal date on a standalone date rather than at a convention. They marketed the game in a way that we hadn't really seen before, teasing us with glitched out Twitter banners and logos, making the icons for previous games glitch out on people's consoles and PCs, and even using content creators for marketing as well by sending us DMs from the official Battlefield Twitter account with some encrypted messages that we as a community had to come together and try and figure out in order to get a bit more information. They then used the same content creators to see an early reveal of the game, which I was lucky enough to be a part of, and actually allowed us to market the game for them in a way, since we were obviously excited about the game and wanted to share every little tidbit of information that we knew. So rather than just dropping a trailer, they dropped a trailer followed by probably 100 videos from different creators showing off what we actually knew and giving the fans a ton more information about the game. They then even released extra Exodus, the Battlefield short film, giving us even more information on the story and introducing a new specialist by the name of Irish, who we know from Battlefield 4. And so, as you can tell by all of the stuff that I've listed off, they've really had a different approach to marketing this game than we've ever seen before. Jonathan Dodd, better known amongst the community as J-Dodd, a fellow Aussie who is an absolute legend by the way, even shared before the reveal happened that they were going down a different path of their marketing this time around and involving the community a little bit more, which all makes sense now that we've seen how they did it. And so from the get-go, the writing has been on the wall in regards to how they've planned on marketing this game. Now, the reason I bring all of that up is because that's the exact reason why I'm not too worried about the lack of a Gamescom trailer, since they're obviously doing things differently this time around. Sure, we've had 6 games in a row that had a trailer at Gamescom, so to not get a Battlefield trailer at Gamescom 2021 does feel a little bit odd, and it's understandable why people are concerned. But when you look at the way this game has been marketed so far, I don't actually think it's that weird that they've left Battlefield out of Gamescom. It almost seems like they're trying to be a little bit more unpredictable and a lot more unique overall, so having a predictable trailer like a Gamescom trailer, for example, it might be something that they actively avoided just to keep us talking about the game during an event when we didn't even hear a single mention of the game. Think about it, Call of Duty Vanguard, their biggest competitor, showed off essentially their first proper look at the game at Gamescom opening night, and overall I think it was received pretty well. And yet here we, the Battlefield community, are talking about Battlefield 2042 and why it might not have been at Gamescom. I'm a big fan of Call of Duty and Battlefield, and honestly I've come out of Gamescom more interested in why Battlefield wasn't there than I am about what we saw about Call of Duty, and DICE didn't even need to show a trailer for me to have that reaction. The same situation happened when the game was leaking all over the place for weeks, if not months, before the reveal. People were confused why they weren't jumping in all over it and making sure to get the official word out there, but at the end of the day, we were all still talking about Battlefield and they hadn't spent a dime yet in terms of marketing. The fans were essentially free advertising, and I legitimately saw many Twitter accounts that I follow for Warzone news talking about Battlefield and how interesting it was, yet DICE were just sitting back and letting this all unfold without even needing to lift a finger. So it wasn't just the Battlefield community that were excited either, so many gamers were intrigued by the lack of information. At face value, it seems like they just maybe haven't had the trailers prepared, or maybe they're not ready to show the game, or whatever the case may be, but in reality, when you look at their strategy behind marketing so far, even going as far as saying that they're actively trying to market this game differently, their lack of information almost seems to breed more excitement at times, and then they have seemed to pretty much just always come into the perfect time and drop some actual information, piquing our excitement essentially for free, and then getting more bang for their buck when they do actually drop a trailer. It's been a very interesting way of doing things, and honestly I think it's been an absolute masterclass of marketing as far as I'm concerned, and as long as they keep it up and try to keep on communicating and keeping us excited, I think it's a great way of doing things because it keeps us excited almost to the point of frustration that we're not hearing any news, and then right at the perfect time they drop some info, cashing in on all of that pre-build excitement. I personally think that's a reason why there wasn't a trailer at Gamescom, and I wouldn't be surprised if we get another info dump in the coming weeks as well as the supposed beta in September. So although things might seem super dry right now, I don't think we have anything to worry about at all. Let me know what you guys think of this little theory of mine, whether you think it could be their way of thinking or whether you think I'm just being naive and maybe they literally just don't have trailers ready or something like that. I'm definitely interested to hear what you guys have to say. If you enjoyed the video, then be sure to leave a like down below, and if you are new, then consider subscribing to the channel with those notifications on. If you guys want to support the content that I make here on YouTube, then do consider becoming a channel member. But with that being said, thank you all very much for watching. You guys have a great day, and I'll see you all out there on the battlefield.